Good day, everyone. On behalf of BioIT World's Global Web Symposia series and our sponsor, Cambridge Semantics and Sanofi Pharmaceutical Company, I'd like to welcome you to Leveraging Real-World Data for Better Clinical Trials. My name is Elizabeth Lamb, and I'm the Technical Director and Moderator for today's event. At this time, I'd like to introduce our host for today. He is James T. Lapointe, Managing Director of Life Sciences and Healthcare for Cambridge Semantics. Welcome, Jim. The presenter ball is yours.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I will welcome everyone, and thank you so much for attending this informative webinar. And we're very, very pleased to have a tremendous partner and speaker in Jeff Barrett with us today. A little about me, and I will, as I said, as she said, be your host for today. Lead the life sciences and healthcare practice here at Cambridge Semantics, where I work with all of our customers across the entire R&D and commercial space to sort of get a handle on their data integration and advanced analytics needs. After the 20 years of working in the industry and enabling, using technology to enable transformation, we're very pleased to sort of bring you an example of the kind of innovative solutions that are being offered in the industry. Start off, I would like to just, sort of start at a very high level. And we all are very familiar with the overarching sort of R&D and commercial life cycle that we confront every day. It's an involved process that starts fairly general in the R&D side and then moves into continuous refinement and attrition of compounds until we get something that we hope will pass the various agencies' approval criteria, right? But as we know, as we go through this, there's various systems and sources of data that are either generated or collected throughout the entire process. And at Cambridge Semantics, we have a platform that really is especially tuned for these kinds of challenges. And in this case, we'll talk about one in particular. So we are the developers of a technology known as the Anzo Smart Data Lake platform. And this platform has been specifically designed for the rapid ingestion of all kinds of data, and I'll give an example of that shortly, of the kinds of information that we can bring in, and then to provide through a very powerful graph structure and graph model, a modeling technique called ontologies. We're able to sort of harmonize and link all this data into an immediately readily available sort of set of analytic capabilities. And we're going to show a little bit of one of those in particular today around real-world data. But our platform is pretty general purpose, and it supports the entire R&D and commercial life cycle. And we have various solutions across all the way from research and sort of the pharma intelligence, smart data lake, all the way to on the commercial side and in various parts of the development piece internally. But the beauty part of the technology is, since it's graph-based and guided by ontologies, is that individually these various smart data lakes are developed and serve a very specific purpose within an organization. They provide sort of that narrower sort of capability within each one of those data lakes. But because of the semantic underpinnings and the power of the graph on ontologies, we're able to link these various data lakes up and try to provide a sort of cohesive information fabric across the whole R&D life cycle. And so we have a rich and experience base in this. You can see some of the customers. I'm sure some of you that are on the phone and are listening in today may be customers, and we thank you very much for the trust and confidence you've shown in us. Others of you that are interested in finding out some more about some of these use cases and some of these smart data lakes, we welcome further conversation with you at any point. We'll leave our contact information at the end of the presentation, and you can reach out to us for additional questions and information. So exactly what's going on under the covers, right? So if you think about sort of building a smart data lake, right? There are different types of information that I'm sure you deal with every day in your organizations, right? So let's start with sort of a, a database or a table in Excel. And then we call that a sort of structured information, right? So in that structured information, those tables can be transformed into the way we deal with data is in a graph structure using industry standard notation called RDF. It's an industry standard that's been developed and managed over almost 20 years now. But everything that was in that database is captured and preserved within that graph structure. It also gives us the ability to now sort of look at this in sort of more a human readable form, so we can change the names of tables and what we call classes and their properties and the relationships between these. But just remember that everything that's in the graph within the relational technology is preserved and maintained in the graph structure. Where it gets pretty interesting is if you sort of go to sort of the next level where you can actually bring in what we call unstructured data, right? So that would be text. In this case, it's an example, let's say, of a safety case report that maybe came in a PDF or could have been a fax, right? So that safety case has some additional information in there. And in this case, we see that there was a drug name, and we can link that drug name from the unstructured, from that piece of text with what we already had captured in our knowledge graph and be able to extend that. Now, there is an underlying ontology that sort of links and harmonizes this information under the covers, but those two are two sources of information that relational technology and the text document really are maybe in two different locations, come in two different ways, and managed by two entirely different groups. But as far as the graph is, once we've brought it over and transformed it, it's all available to us in this single unified graph structure.